Welcome to the Den, the Dark Entertainment Network. I'm the Gothic Rose, and this is the dark tale of the day. Let me take this moment to reintroduce myself. I am the Gothic Rose, hostess of the Dark Entertainment Network. This is a channel where the news meets conspiracy theories and makes babies in my brain, and it comes out my mouth. I do this because I enjoy it. If you like this type of content, please follow along, because I'm not going to stop. Welcome back, dear fiends of the den, as we continue the haunted history of Hollywood. We are in the Roaring Twenties, and if you haven't seen my TikToks or shorts or my latest post, I'm having a little contest. I am updating the Dark Entertainment Network logo, and I've got 4 designs that I've nailed it down to. So I'm looking for one. I need your input. So let me know. And thank you guys so much also for all of your support so far. The Roaring Twenties, known as the golden age of silent films in Hollywood, really took over. It was such a big step from the Gilded Age. There was just so much more technology, not only in the studios, but in the homes and with cars as well. So these silent films, they really relied on specifics from the actors and all of the musicians. So the way they were directed to create these stories relied very heavily upon expressive acting. So there was no spoken dialogue, obviously. They're called silent films. And actors relied heavily on exaggerated facial expressions and body language to convey emotions to tell the story. Subtlety was often sacrificed for clarity, and this is why so many silent film actors had trouble making the leap into the talkies, which brought back a lot of that subtlety. Then there were intertitles, and these were key dialogue or narrative points, and they were displayed on intertitle cards. So the actors had to time their actions to align with these textual cues. And then the physicality. So many of the silent film actors, like Douglas Fairbanks, were known for their athleticism and ability to perform stunts, which added excitement to the visual storytelling. And of course, the actors rehearsed extensively to ensure their movements and expressions were synchronized with the pacing of the film. Synchronized with the pacing of In the early days of silent films, many of them ran just minutes, but by the 1920s, many of these were running 60 to 90 minutes. So, with the musicians, these were always the people who were the live accompanists for these films. So it was a live orchestra or a piano player, and it set the mood and enhanced the emotional impacts of these scenes. And then musicians would actually improvise based on the action on screen. But for a major part of the productions, they followed carefully composed scores, and there were extensive libraries of sheet music to match various moods and themes, ensuring continuity and coherence. And then the synchronization, so these musicians synchronized their playing with the film's projection speed, which could vary depending on the equipment. So you had the actors synchronizing along to the intertitles, and then the musicians synchronizing to the film itself, no matter how quickly or slowly it may go. Very amazing stuff, very inventive. I kind of wish I could have experienced it. Now, mentioned earlier as one of the best in silent films is the actor Douglas Fairbanks, who was married to Mary Pickford. They were married on March 28th, 1920, in a private ceremony, and this was celebrated as a coming together of 2 of Hollywood's biggest stars, and they earned the title of the first power couple in the film industry. And they later moved into their iconic estate, Pickfair. and this became a symbol of their life together. Douglas Fairbanks, along with Mary Pickford. So, Mary Pickford and Douglas Fairbanks co founded United Artists in 1919, along with Charlie Chaplin and D.W. Griffin, and of course, are one of the 36 founding members of the Academy of Arts and Sciences, also known as the Oscars. But Douglas Fairbanks alone himself was called the King of Hollywood, and he was one of the biggest and brightest stars of his day, captivating audiences with his swashbuckling roles and athletic charisma. He not only entertained, but he reflected societal aspirations and values of the time. What Douglas Fairbanks embodied to everyone in the Roaring Twenties was he was optimistic. He was innovative. He had all this self-expression. He had his on-screen persona that reflected the values and dreams of the era, which were individualism and heroism, with his daring and iconic heroic characters that overcame obstacles with charm and with courage. He embodied adventure and escapism with his swashbuckling roles. He embodied innovation, and he was very modern for his time because he was a pioneer in filmmaking techniques, storytelling, and he symbolized the era's fascination with progress and innovation. He symbolized glamour and success as half of Hollywood's first power couple. They represented the allure of fame, wealth, and the American dream, he and Mary Pickford. And of course, his physical fitness and vitality. So his athleticism, his energetic performances mirrored the era's emphasis on health, vitality, and living life to the fullest. And he was in some of the most iconic roles. He starred in The Mark of Zorro, 1920, and this film popularized the masked hero archetype and inspired countless adaptations, and it resonated with audiences by showcasing themes of justice and rebellion. Not a bad theme here, of course, 125 years later in 2025. Also, The Three Musketeers, 1921, and this was a grand adaptation of Alexandre Dumas' novel, and the film highlighted camaraderie and heroism, which were uplifting themes post World War I. So Douglas Fairbanks really knew how to touch the hearts and souls of his audience. And then Robin Hood in 1922, so his legendary portrayal of the outlaw emphasized the fight against tyranny, resonating with societal ideas of fairness and equality. In 1924, he starred in The Thief of Baghdad, a visually stunning fantasy that showcased groundbreaking special effects and set designs, influencing visual storytelling of future films. And The Black Pirate in 1926, known for its early use of Technicolor, this film combined adventure with innovation, leaving a lasting impact on the industry. So, these founding members of United Artists, of the Academy, they really put their heart and soul into making sure that what we saw was a lasting piece of art and not a lot of the same rewritten crap we're getting in Hollywood today. You know, all of the sequels, the prequels, the everything, the family dynasties. Well, actually, those started here. Those started in old Hollywood. There's so many stars that we didn't think of as Nepo babies back when, my Gen X was growing up, but really are. But many of them have left lasting, wonderful pieces of art. But Hollywood definitely today is not what it was back then, and we will continue to talk about the haunted history and catch up with 2025. So, with that, you guys, thank you for joining me in the den. If you do enjoy this content, please like, subscribe, leave a comment, and hit that bell.